How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. Okay, so today's game is actually a movie tie-in, and it's a Disney movie. But unlike most Disney movies, this movie tie-in was handled by Bandai instead of Capcom, who handled a lot of other Disney stuff on the NES. It's from 1991, I want to say, and it's a side-scrolling platformer, but it's actually a pretty fun one, despite the fact that the Super Nintendo port of a game based on the same license was so dismally bad. Today's game is The Rocketeer. Okay, so The Rocketeer is set in 1938. This stunt pilot, after a race, his plane is damaged in a shootout between some thugs and some government agents, and the thugs stash an item in the plane's cockpit. Well, the pilot finds it and realizes it's a rocket pack. And pretty much the rest of the movie was everybody after this guy. An actress was kidnapped. There were Nazis and a crazy actor and the army. Everybody's after this guy for this rocket pack. The game follows actually a similar plot point. It actually follows the plot of the movie pretty closely, with one exception, that the entire game is a side-scrolling platformer. Unlike the Super Nintendo title of the same name, The Rocketeer, that had some shooting involved, and you started the game doing an airplane race and just a whole bunch of stuff that made the game a lot less fun. This game gives gamers what they want, just a classic side-scrolling action, run-and-gun action game with some exploration involved, because some of the levels are pretty wide open. You have to find the exit. The Rocketeer, the NES version of The Rocketeer has an incredibly solid soundtrack. The music in the game is actually pretty formidable. That's one thing you can say about NES titles. For the most part, there were a lot of really good soundtracks on these games. Graphically, to say this title came out in 91, that was more towards the beginning of the decline of the NES, and a lot of developers were starting to cut corners as far as development costs and the look of their games, just to get them out there. The Rocketeer looks pretty good. It's bright, it's colorful. The characters aren't muted as far as color is concerned. The animation is solid for an 8-bit title. It's a good game. It's a well put together game. The problem is the genre of game that it is, and the fact that nobody was really falling all over themselves to play a Rocketeer video game, made this title not as popular as other titles that are similar. Like Batman, for instance. Batman is an amazingly solid platformer that, for better or for worse, was pretty similar to what we got a few years later in The Rocketeer. But the Batman title was, one, marketed incredibly well, and two, it was a license that everybody cared about. A lot of people didn't care about The Rocketeer as a license, which made this title not sell as well as it could have. And therein lies the tragedy. This game actually is probably one of the more obscure gems on the NES, because a lot of people didn't know that this game even existed. A lot of people, unfortunately, know about that Super Nintendo title that was a launch title on the Super NES, and it was a bad one. As far as the Rocketeer on the NES, because it's not an incredibly popular game, you should be able to find a copy pretty cheap. Hopefully your copy will be in better condition than the one that I picked up, but I'll rectify that soon enough. So you should definitely rush out and get yourself a copy, because it's a solid platformer. It's a solid platform and a solid action game, even if the character isn't a well-known character. This has been 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you.